That song always catch me. It catching me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay. Nope, the week too early. Good morning, Grenada, Karakou, PT Martinique. The week too early for that kind of behavior. Good morning, everybody. Trust you had a restful Monday. It is a bright and rainy Tuesday morning in the Isle of Spice, at least for us here in the south of the island. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bless up your whole self. It is June 15th, 2021. Happy am I to be here in your presence. Thank you so very much for tuning in to Good Morning Grenada. Those of you on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go To Fet Facebook pages. Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a good Monday and you're ready to get Tuesday up and running, equipped with your face masks, your hand sanitizers, your umbrellas, your rain boots, your raincoat, whatever you need to stay dry from the rain and COVID-19 free. Good morning, bless up your whole selves. To all the viewers and listeners across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are, a spicy Grenadian 473 morning to each and every one of you. And those of you joining us internationally, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. It is a good day to have a good day, rain and all. Let's get into this morning's word of the day. This morning's word of the day is billow. Billow. It's spelled B-I-L-L-O-W. Billow. It is a verb which means to swell out, puff up, etc. as by the action of wind. Billow. The noun, which is a great wave or surge of the sea, appears nearly 45 years before its derivative verb billow, to swell out, puff up as by wind. Billow appears in print pretty late in English, just after the middle of the 16th century, but it most likely comes from the Old Norse a billow, from the Proto-Germanic root, which means to swell. The billow entered English in the... Billow entered English in the early 1600s. The word of the day this morning is billow. It's spelled B-I-L-L-O-W. It is a verb which means to swell out, puff up, as by the action of wind. An example of the use of the word: managed by two men, the flag billows within their grasp as though it could unfurl any moment. Another example of the use of the word: when she had pinned 3 corners to the line, it began to billow and leap in her hands, to flutter and tremble, and to glare with the light. The word of the day this morning, B-I-L-L-O-W, billow. It is a verb which means to swell out, puff up, as by the action of wind. To billow. Swell up your chest. Billow. That's the word of the day today. And as you go about your rainy Tuesday, the thought of today is: the best feeling in the whole world is watching things finally fall into place after watching them fall apart for so long. The best feeling in the whole world is watching things finally fall into place after watching them fall apart for so long. It's a great feeling, going through the hurdles, jumping over bricks and ducking on the valleys and limboing on the sticks. And when you get to the finish line and you see the final product, when everything falls into place, it's a wonderful feeling. Continue going through the trials and tribulations. You have to have a test to get a testimony. So keep trekking, keep going. The best feeling in the whole world is when things finally fall into place after watching them fall apart for so long. It's going to be a rewarding journey. Whatever journey you're on is going to be rewarding. Let's see what's celebrated today, June 15th, 2021. It's a good day today. It is Smile Power Day. Smile Power Day. It shares one powerful expression from the good morning greeting and the first "How may I help you?" Present yourself with a smile. No matter where you are employed or if you're job seeking, retired, or looking for new horizons, starting the day with a smile is certainly more empowering than a pout or grump. Starting with a smile first is easier than trying to get there later in the day. Smile Power Day. Plaster a smile on your face, whatever you're doing today, whether you are tending to a customer or you are the customer. You're heading out on the road, you're just going down the road in the shop, you're sitting in the veranda watching the vehicles pass by. Whatever you're doing today, it is Smile Power Day. When people see you smile, it goes a long way. Smiles cheer up days. It brightens days. So smile today. It is Smile Power Day. Just think of anything that would make you smile. Family member, a situation, a memory from yesteryear. It is Smile Power Day. Smiles have great power. So plaster one on your face today. No matter what you're doing, where you're going, who you're greeting, it's Smile Power Day. All right, and just before we head into the news, just as not a heads up, but by way of information, just the latest COVID-19 dashboard. As according to the Ministry of Health, Grenada is still without any known, the operative word here is known, without any known positive COVID-19 cases. We have zero known active cases, or no active cases, that's it. No active COVID-19 cases in Grenada since March 2020 to 4 p.m. yesterday. Grenada recorded 161 cases of COVID-19. The last active case I recall would be late April, if early May. I don't think we had in May, but if anything, it was very early May, but it was late April, so it's been a while. However, that is no reason to let our guards down. As have become apparent over the past few days, there are people bypassing and breaching the COVID-19 entry protocols for the island and coming into the island illegally, because it is illegal. Coming into the island illegally, you never know. We've been catching some, but you never know how many have escaped the grasps. According to the police, it was over 50% of the illegal immigrants that have come into the island recently came from neighboring St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we are all aware of the COVID-19 situation in St. Vincent. So you never know who's coming and what they're coming with. You never know who's standing behind you in the supermarket, who's sitting next to you on the bus. It could be somebody who did the legal thing and came in and went to quarantine. It could be somebody who tried to bypass the situation and docked on one of the beaches across the island. Just be safe, wear your masks, your hand sanitizers, keep yourself quiet and keep yourself in your corner. Try not to rush nobody. Hugging is still off limits. I'm going to say illegal, but hugging is still off limits because you never know, especially when it's somebody you ain't seen in a very long time. Check all yourself. So, zero known active cases, but keep the COVID-19 protocols in mind. No reason to get slack because you never know what's happening. All right, that's my warning this morning as we head into the morning edition of news. For those of you on radio and those of you on our visual platforms, it's time for highlights of last evening's newscast. It's Good Morning Grenada on this terrific rainy Tuesday. We'll be right back.
During last week's press briefing, Minister for Health Nicholas Steele said Grenada continues to see a growth in the number of persons entering the country illegally, a risky practice that can result in a massive COVID-19 outbreak. To date, the number of illegal entries into Grenada has been increased by 2, bringing the total to 17. The latest were 2 Vincentian nationals. Let's get more in this report.
2 Vincentian nationals who were arrested and charged on Saturday the 12th of June 2021 for entering the state of Grenada without the consent of an immigration officer and failure to submit to a government-approved quarantine facility were brought to court on Monday. Laverna and Leslie John were ordered to be removed by the presiding magistrate on the first charge and reprimanded and discharged on the second charge. The 2, according to reports, are siblings. Both individuals arrived on island via speedboat last Thursday at Victoria St. Mark. and was subsequently detained by immigration authorities. During last week's press briefing, Minister for Health Nicholas Steele said Grenada continues to see a growth in the number of persons entering the country illegally, a risky practice that he said can result in a massive COVID-19 outbreak.
We are constantly at threat. Individuals are constantly trying to circumnavigate and get around the various restrictions that we put in place to keep us safe and them safe. But still, some individuals try to breach it or believe that they are above it. So we are constantly at risk. Someone successfully came into Grenada illegally from a country where there is right now a significant outbreak of COVID-19.
There is no set date as to when the two will be sent back to St. Vincent. To date, the number of illegal entries into Grenada has increased to 17. Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN News.
It'll be interesting to find out the reasons why. Moving on, the police have the authority to arrest anyone found in violation of the law. How they do so have often come under scrutiny. However, there seems to be a gap in communication between police and the public on protocols when making an arrest. The head of the Community Relations Department at the RGPF explains.
Superintendent Vannie Kerwin, head of the Community Relations Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force, says a lot of scenarios where arrests are made by police officers become escalated when people assume that a police officer is mandated to give a reason for their arrest, even when the reason is obvious.
You don't necessarily always have to tell somebody what they're arrested for. Sometimes you know, and I know why you're being arrested. If I'm a police officer in uniform, and you look me in the face and say, officer, and here comes the obscenities, and I say you've been under arrest, is there any doubt why I'm arresting you? There's no doubt here, because you know what you have just said. But it is always the practice that will let the subjects know what you're arrested for. It makes it clearer. It makes the process more compliant. So you see you're being arrested for obscene language, insulting language, possession of drugs. It is always good to see. But there are cases where you need not say that because it's glaring. There's nothing else I could be arresting you for but what you have just said.
The superintendent was responding to questions surrounding a recent attempted arrest where police officers neglected to inform the individual as to why they were being arrested. He had this to say when questioned about police officers' application of self-defense training in the event of an escalated situation.
We do have justifiable use and force that the law provides for us under Section 53 of the Criminal Code. And as anybody else, police reserve the right to defend their person and other persons and other property. And so if you're attacked as a police officer, you have that right in law to defend yourself. Where it becomes problematic is when those force, or that force that the police officer should use in defense of himself becomes excessive. You know, according to the law, the force you use must be equal to the threat you face. So if you have a pencil in your hand and you're 10 feet away from me, there will be no justification for me to shoot you. Force is graduated. In other words, you don't start at the top and come down. It starts at the bottom and go up. So by speaking, force start. So if I ask you to stop using those obscenities, that is force. And that's verbal force. And if you continue to do more than just the force, I may want to arrest you. That's force.
The police have come under fire in recent times about their conduct. The superintendent says there are ways and means which are not publicized that officers are penalized for their wrongdoings.
We dismiss, we reduce in rank, we transform, and we have other ways and means that our internal disciplinary system work, and it happens on a daily basis. So I say to the public, have some hope and some confidence that we're doing what we have to do in your interests. Because you're a police officer does not mean you're going to escape the system. It does not mean we're going to sweep an allegation of you under the rug because you're one of us. We have our rules and protocols that we follow. And when you breach those rules and those protocols, please expect to face whatever consequences comes with it.
For GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin came to the defense of the RGPF by saying they have not had any accusations of bias in matters involving police officers. This came against the backdrop from expressions from members of the public calling for an independent body to investigate matters involving police officers. There are fears of a lack of transparency transparency in situations where claims of police abuse or brutality exist and police officers having to investigate their own. Lately, a number of these accusations have caught the attention of the media.
We have not heard or presented with any evidence to suggest biasness in the police investigation specifically. There seem to be, and I agree with you, based on public utterances, a strong perception of the critical need for an independent mechanism for investigating matters of complaints relating to the police. Factually, I am aware of other jurisdictions that has what is referred to as a police complaint authority. So the police complaint authority is a composition of individuals that is given authority to investigate matters independent of the police force when there are issues of complaints against the police.
The Commissioner of Police elaborated further on the likelihood that this will be giving some thought in due course.
There may be merit in policymakers considering this as a progressive move, as a move that might add a level of transparency and accountability, if you may, albeit the fact that at the moment, what we do have is a perception that is formed about police investigations. But notwithstanding that, as we well know, perceptions are people's reality because we tend to hold on a lot to perceptions. But I believe that there have been a lot of comments of this in public space over time, and it is being heard. It is being heard. For examples, in the region with where police complaints authority is in place to investigate all matters where involving actions by the police officers. So we will see where that goes. But certainly I have heard this issue, and I'm sure that policymakers have heard it and will consider those issues in its due course.
The National Insurance Scheme has seen some positive results following its recent announcement to publicly name all non-compliant businesses in the coming weeks. Rena Pear-Thomas has more.
Since the National Health Insurance Scheme signaled their intention to publicly name and shame businesses that are non-compliant with the NIS contributions in early June, officials from the Social Security Organization say they have seen some positive responses from some employers in getting their contributions up to date. Cindy Ann St. Bernard, Deputy Director of the National Insurance Scheme, says she is optimistic about the response.
I think what we have been seeing is that more employers are requesting statements. So since we would have launched the initiative or started sensitizing persons about it, you would have seen more employers requesting to know what their contribution status is. So hopefully, if this continues, we expect to see that once they get their statement and they realize that they're owing, that payments, they would actually start making payments. So it's actually, we are already getting a desired result just from starting to publicizing the matter.
As of August 1st, the organization will officially publicize the name of over 500 non-compliant businesses. St. Bernard explains that this decision is made to deter businesses from the act. She spoke of how people are affected by this illegal act.
Because you see, on a daily basis, there are persons who would apply for benefits and they just cannot qualify for the benefit because their employer just would not have paid. And you would go to the employer, request that they pay up. The person may apply for an age benefit. Based on the number of contributions they have, they can only qualify for a grant, which is a one-off payment rather than getting a pension for life. Now, in a case like that, every day it burns me that I see persons who would have worked all of their lives and thinking that their contributions were being paid, only to find out when you actually apply for your pension, you cannot get it because your employer just did not pay.
Director of NIS, Dorset Cromwell, says that while NIS will do what needs to be done, they are also working along with employers who are willing to comply.
We will walk through a process. We will walk through a detailed process and make sure that the employer has a fair chance to make good before we put your name in the newspaper. And if you miss one payment, your name not going to appear, right? Because it may just be a minor issue, some administrative issue that happens. Somebody who has to sign a check, they're not in the country, whatever the case is. It will not be like that. As the compliance manager said, it will be for employers who are chronic, right, in their non-compliance.
Both directors were speaking on GBN's To The Point program. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
A look at how small businesses can rebound from the impacts of COVID-19 and reposition themselves to benefit from the opportunities the pandemic presents was the focus of the episode of ECCB Digital Dialogues. We get more in this report.
Almost 50% of the businesses surveyed in the OECS have reported disruptions in their supply of inputs, and almost all experience some form of financing constraints. Executive Director of Compete Caribbean, Dr. Sylvia Donat, said the way business is done in the Caribbean needs to be revolutionized to improve the business climate.
I think that measures that the ECCB is taking, such as the credit guarantee mechanism, also the credit bureau, is going to significantly enhance this. And I also really want to credit you for your digital currency, because I think that digital currency will make, will bring a lot of people within the financial sector. It will make applications such as Fluby, which are very direly needed, even easier to use.
She highlighted the importance of e-commerce and digitalizing public services as is being done by the Grenadian public sector.
I think there's a big road still. It's not clear who the technology providers can be for the Caribbean, but we see a very big demand by businesses and start of a response in terms of businesses coming into the space and making it a lot easier.
Managing Director of Belmont Estate, Sharonaya Compton, said the pandemic forced them to be more creative and innovative while focusing on resilience. CEO and co-founder of MCAT Innovations, Ashton Ferron, said they have had to change their business model in order to survive.
So we took the opportunity to not only change our business model, but we created an entirely new product. And that's where we decided to launch Fluby, which is a payment platform that makes doing business online across the OECS easy. And so without having any technical expertise, anyone can set up a website, begin selling their products and services in minutes. And even I can now sell some of my produce from my own backyard garden.
The ECCB is also implementing reforms to improve the business climate in the currency union. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell said it before and he's saying it again. Vaccination is key, and this will apply to Spice Mass and other entertainment activities. Rena Pear-Thomas tells us more.
Some Grenadians may be able to enjoy some form of carnival-like activities for the year 2021, but only if persons are fully vaccinated. That's according to Prime Minister and Minister for Youth, Dr. Keith Mitchell. While Grenada will not be hosting carnival due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Prime Minister says government may allow some social and cultural activities. He said only persons who are fully vaccinated will be able to host or participate in the events.
For example, if there might be in a small village, a group want to play a certain mass or want to do that, and they are all vaccinated and they apply for permission, I think the work will be done and permission will be given if the vaccination component is part of the process. But if the promoters, for example, are moving ahead and promoting cultural activities and people are vaccinated as a condition to be participants in the activity, then certainly I think the COVID committee is looking seriously at that.
The nation's leader explains that the island is far from its herd immunity mark and hosting carnival in its full form is not an option.
So I wouldn't call it government moving to carnival, but I would call it allowance of cultural activities. There could be cultural activities, which some of it is associated with what takes place in carnival. But I think in many churches had saying there is carnival, that means Monday night mass, massive jab all over the place, that sort of thing. I think you want to be careful. Until we have herd immunity, I think you want to be extremely careful.
The Prime Minister says he understands the need for some Grenadians to have some form of enjoyment, but the risk is too high.
Because let's face it, people are under stress. We have to realize, as much as we want to keep almost every activity out, we have to have outlets for people, and we are mindful of that. We as human beings, we are social animals, and the more you try to put unnecessary control on us, the more we might revolt. So this is better to do it, certain limitations and activities, but at the same time give people an opportunity to have some serious social interactions.
As it relates to removing Carnival Monday and Tuesday, August 9th and 10th as a holiday, the PM says that has not been discussed as yet. For GBN News, I am Rena Thomas reporting.
Many Grenadians are not fazed by government or health officials' words of encouragement to take the available COVID-19 vaccines, AstraZeneca. Many believe that it's a matter that an individual should have the right to choose to take it or not. Others say they will take the vaccine for COVID-19, but not the one readily available to Grenadians. Our guest this evening is Dr. Bert Brathwaite. Welcome, sir.
Good evening to you, and good evening to listeners.
The latest figure, according to government's dashboard, states that 26,975 doses of AstraZeneca have been administered. What's your biggest concern regarding the vaccination rate in Grenada at present?
Well, to be honest with you, Christine, I am extremely concerned. I think we are going into a very dangerous period. Because if you look at it, we only have about 11% of our population fully vaccinated. We have roughly about 21% or so. That is of the population that would need to be vaccinated. We have about 21% who have had their first vaccine. But the critical thing is the first vaccine. And I want to draw reference to two countries to show you what is happening globally and why I'm going to say what I said. In St. Kitts, just 2 weeks ago, there were just some 45 or so cases. This weekend, 155, to the point where they have gone on a lockdown from 6 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. in the morning for the next 2 weeks. Now, mark you, in St. Kitts had one of the best coverages vaccination-wise. St. Kitts has 29% of its people fully covered, as against our 11%, nearly 3 times as much, and 65% with the first vaccine. Yet, they have found it, despite that level of coverage, this outbreak has put them into very difficult territory. Look at what has happened in the UK. UK has managed the virus very well in the latter part of last year into this year. And despite the fact that they have 50% of the population fully covered, and somewhere in the order of 70% or so with just the first vaccine, only today the British Prime Minister has had to extend the period before opening up free for approximately another month or so. So I say all of that to say it should be clear to us that we are in a war. We are in a war against a virus, and we have to understand that. And what do you do in a war then? In a war, what you do is one of the things you do two things. You're trying to muster your forces, and you try to build up your defenses. The best defense that we have against the virus is to get vaccinated. And that is what we need people to go. One of the things, and talking to groups frequently over recent days, the latest point is that, if we get vaccinated, we can still get the virus. If you get vaccinated, if you don't get vaccinated, you have a 20% chance of becoming severely ill. If you get vaccinated, you will, worse, just have a mild to moderate illness. You will unlikely to have to be hospitalized, certainly not to reach into intensive care. And so there is a definite, by being vaccinated, you're protecting yourself, you're going to be healthier. Even though you're exposed to the virus, you're going to transmit it less to other people, including your family, your young folk, your young children, your elderly folk who are particularly at risk. The other thing that we need to do, I will submit, Christine, is to look and increase the forces that we have fighting this vaccine. I want to start from our own profession, my own profession. Now, I know many members of my profession that the medical profession would have spoken out, would speak to their patients on a daily basis and encourage them to get the vaccine. But my call is for a more concerted voice to be heard. In many countries, the voice of the medical profession has led to increased vaccinations.
Dr. Bradford, I just want to ask you one quick question because we are tight on time. So much information to be processed, of course, as it relates to the COVID-19 vaccines, and in particular AstraZeneca. Only today, the EU flagged another rare blood condition as a side effect of this said vaccine called capillary leak syndrome. These are the issues that some Grenadians are concerned about. Would you say they have a right to be concerned?
Yes, well, of course, I have not read those reports as yet myself, but any issue that is raised is considered, and folk at the international level are going to look on it. But we have not seen, what I can say here is that here in Grenada, we have not seen any significant side effects. People have got the usual minor things you get when you get a vaccine, right? But no serious side effects. But just to, I know you're rushed for time, but just to make another point, another big group of people who I think need to come forward, Christine, and make a statement is the folk in the unions. Some union members would have made comments, but we need it to be put on. I'm pleading with the unions to put the question of COVID and vaccination on the agenda. The other agenda items that they have, obviously they're free to go ahead with that, but the country needs it from them. Their members are the ones who are going to get hurt. We just look at what is happening in Trinidad.
Dr. Bradford, we do have to wrap. Right? Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Montreal, it's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
Level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. Plumbing fixtures, cutting and grinding discs, PVC glue, drywall screws, and power saw blades. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
If it's tech, we got it. If it's an appliance, we've got that too. Dad, if you want it, you should get it this Father's Day at Quartz. Quartz has unbeatable prices, up to 30% off selected products. So whatever you want, you should get it. Only at Quartz, bringing value home.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, reviews, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Foliage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
Understanding our ocean is education for life. Encourage your students to learn about marine life, water quality, sea level rise. Let them explore sciences. Encourage them through field trips and scholarships. The more they know, the better they can protect our oceans from litter and climate change. Let them rise to the challenge. The ocean is our responsibility, their inheritance, their future.
This message brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from turf to surf.
How going on, boy? Hey, good old things. Hey, easy. Yeah. Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day. Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service. Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy. Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going. I am Marcia Jones, nursing assistant by profession, and I'm here to speak to you on a team approach that can help you control your diabetes mellitus. The family, the nurses, the food and nutritionist officers, the doctor, and the pharmacist. They give care, support, educate, counsel, diagnose, and treat. As a nursing assistant, my encouragement to you living with diabetes, our health professionals are here to help you.
This is a message from the Lions Club of St. John and the Grenada Diabetes Association, funded by the European Union through the 11th European Development Fund Program.
Get vaxxed, hey, hey, vaccinated. Get vaxxed, hey, hey, get vaccinated. Vaccinated. So wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distance. This is we chance to advance. Come let we fight this COVID at once. So come on, let we fall in line. We want to come back to we social life. There is vaccination island wide.
message from the Grenada Red Cross and the Ministry of Health.
Trends come and go, but jewelry is forever in style. Give it.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is Tuesday, Money Saving Tuesday. It's time for Money Matters, sponsored by Republic Bank.
Can you spend wisely and have more savings? Yes, you can. Learn more with Money Matters on GBN Television. The Money Matters series explores 12 top ways to save money. In this series, you would learn how to save by setting up your spending money right. Save on vehicle loans, home improvement projects, your credit cards, and even on prescription drugs. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 7:15 for Money Matters, a lighthearted conversation with financial planner Tarlie Francis. Follow the rebroadcast on Thursdays at 6:50 p.m. and on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Money Matters is a financial literacy public awareness program sponsored by Republic Bank Grenada.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back. Thank you so much. Once again, we are joined by financial consultant Tarlie Francis, letting your money work for you. And this morning, how to save on clothes and vacations. This morning is going to be another good one. Good morning, Mr. Francis.
Big topics. Good morning. Good morning, Blossom. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so very much for joining us once again this morning. I know a lot of ladies specifically for the clothes and everybody for the vacations. So in this conversation, clothing and vacations. Now, for sure, these two things in which money could be tight and it could be scarce sometimes. Now, first with clothes, we always want to be, especially as ladies, we always want to be in style and in fashion, but the money does be tight and we can't afford everything that we see and things that we want to buy. And on the other hand, vacation for a lot of people push it back. They postpone vacations. Some people don't even take vacation days because they can't make up enough money to, go on holidays. If you're going on vacation, they want to go on vacation. So this morning, I know a lot of people are excited for tips and ways to save on both. So let's start with clothing. Yes, let's start with clothing. Now, this is a must-have for everybody. We can't be in the streets all naked. So we need to get the wardrobe intact. And a lot of us, we want one of a kind or clothes people don't have, things that maybe you don't really bound to buy. So how can people save on clothing, on shopping for clothes?
Right. Very well. Well, don't buy what you're bound to have. Would be one quick tip very early. Yeah, buying clothes indeed, as you say, is shopping. Yeah? And it used to be that a salesman will come by the house, with a little suitcase, and he would offer your mother, your nana, and your grandmother something and so on from the suitcase. And, you will look through it, you'll take a little thing and so on. And there's going to be an evening time after work, there's going to be a weekend. If you don't have money, that fellow will say, you put your name down in a book, until you come back. After you get paid, you come back that weekend and, you pay him a little bit, and it used to be that kind of way. People like me will get my little Sunday best from the suitcase. Used to be also that every single village had a seamstress or a tailor. Well, some of them used to be like stitchers and so on, but doing it often and so on, you end up being good tailors and seamstresses. But every village had one. And what you do, you go, you take your measurement, you take your children's measurement, you go down in the store, you get some fabric, you come back up, boom. By weekend, you have your new clothes. But today is not that same way. Today, getting clothes is a big shopping event. And sometimes it's an event you plan for, others is an event you didn't really plan for. And so that's why we find that it is extremely important that we pay attention to what we do as far as shopping is concerned and being able to save money. Yeah. So clothing costs could wind up very, very quickly. Just like you say, you could end up searching for clothes on the rack inside a store and buying clothes that you didn't really come out to buy at the time. So what you want to do is you want to take your time and take some of the tips that we give today and the tips that we've been given for the last few episodes and apply it to shopping for clothes as well. The main tips we have on shopping for clothes fall into 4 main categories. Of course, I'll come up with planning. You must plan ahead and prepare when you're going to shop for clothes. And then there is a question of habits. A lot of tips have to do with the habits that you develop as far as getting your new clothes is concerned. And taking care of your clothes, care of yourself, and being able to create when you could create as well is another way in which another set of tips that you get for saving on clothing. So speaking about planning, right? If we follow the money management tips that we've been working through in these last few Money Matters episodes, for sure we'd say it's important to look and see what it is that you need. So when we're shopping for groceries, for example, before we go out, we will check the pantry, we check the fridge, we go and we check the seasoning tray, the seasoning basket. We always check to see what is it that we don't have so that it gives us a guide as to what it is that we might need. Well, in shopping, something similar will help us out because it means that in shopping, before we go out to shop, you want to look and see what it is that you have in the closet. Money Matters say planning has to do with preparing before you go out. So you peep in the closet, you see what you have, you see what you don't have. And by that way, you'll be able to, at least on the way to shopping, know that what it is that I'm really looking for. And then when you're looking to see what it is that you want to be specific. You want to be fairly specific because you want to not be saying, well, I'm going and buy tops. Well, I mean, what kind of tops? Is it top for work? Is it top for linemen? Is it top for church? So you be specific so that it help you in preparing to go out to shop. And similarly, as you do that, you actually also want to do what we say in the early tips for groceries and other things. You want to, I would say, this one is something that everybody might be able to guess that Tarlie will say no. And if I ask you, I'm sure you could tell. You must write it down. You must write it down.
I knew that was coming.
Yes. You make a list of the things that you want to attack when you go in the shop. Because when you make that list, what you do is that you prepare yourself to be guided when you're inside there by your intention. You prepare yourself not to be guided by how things looking when you reach in the store. Because, of course, you don't know and you can't predict what you're going to see in the store. You can't predict the nice deal. You can't predict the pretty color thing that you feel that it looks good on your neighbor, and so you could try it out too. Your girlfriend in the office had one like that, and she just look real prim and proper. I think I could throw it on. I could drop it better than her. So when you go in the store, you're seeing that. But it is, if you have the list of preparation, that you don't have to go for that. If you take, for example, if you're shopping for children clothing, that's another example of where you get tied up if you don't have a list. Once you reach in a store, usually, especially these multi-stores and so on for garments, when you go in there, you see a nice little bundle, and these ones are usually at the front of the store for the children. It have a top on a hanger, which attached to the skirt, a nice little can, and then you also have a little bow tie for the fella. And so when you look at that bundle, and that bundle is $99.99. You want to pick that up because that looked like a real deal right in the front of the shop. But if what you went to buy was really a shirt, which would likely be either beige or blue or whatever, you know where you're going to, you write it on your list, and a pants of this size, no other. If you pass that bundle straight and you go in the back where they're selling them single, the $99.99 that is in front with the bundle looking pretty and nice in the plastic, you find the shirt, $20. You find the pants, $25. You ain't reach $100 yet, You ain't buy the bow tie yet. But if you bought a little tie, a little bow tie and so on, that might be $10. Right there, you have not spent $30 that you would have spent if you had bought the $99.99 bundle. So that's an example of the... Now, we're saying that as an example to say, you look in your closet, you see what you need. You determine in a real specific way that this time the purchase is for work clothes. Plus, I will buy one can-can. I'm buying one little dolly clothes from the next party. All right, you go in with that list, you shop for that. Or for the kids, same thing. You know what you're going to buy. And when you go in there, you use that because you prepare yourself before, right? So planning is important, and it gives you that advantage that you know what you're going to buy and you prepare for what you're going to buy without any problem at all. Yeah?
That's all. It sounds nice. It sounds nice. But from experience, you could make a list whether it's on paper or mentally. You could look in the closet, see you're missing something, and then make the list in your head. When you reach in the store, the temptation yes. Right on the rack. And yes. It's not that you really wanted to buy, that is not where you went to buy it, but it looks so tempting. For example, let's say like you don't have a fancy dress on your list. But you go into the store, you see a nice dress, you say, hey, that is my color, that dress go take me nice. And it's like it's made for you. So in a case like that, could you still save by, let's say, taking it now, and then the next shopping, you could skip the dress because you buy it this month? Could that work?
Well, no. I know a lot of people go vex me, but I mean, the answer is no. You see, the same thing we said for groceries is the same thing we say here. And we have to bring in that big word now, intentional. You have to be intentional if you're planning to be a person with a habit of saving. As long as you are allowing the store and the displays and so on and the deals to dictate what you spend your money on this occasion, it means that you're growing the habit or you're returning to the habit where you are not governed by your intention and by your budget, but by what is happening around you, right? So, if you didn't have it on your list, leave it. It might be a good deal in the store and a good deal for the seller, a good deal for the vendor, a good deal for somebody else, but it's not a good deal for you because that's not something you need at that time. Imagine, Blossom, you buy that dress for $400 right there. And then when you go to work now and you sit down in the job, they call you from school and tell you your daughter's sick. And that illness, before she get better, costs you a good $1,000. The $400 that you spent on the dress did not belong on that dress, really. It belonged in your budget so that you could take care of an emergency, as an example. So that's why I would say no. I wouldn't say no because it's not a good deal. I wouldn't say no because it wouldn't fit you well and you wouldn't like it and so on. I wouldn't say no because, the friends and so on wouldn't admire you when you have it on. I say no because we're talking about savings. And if you're intentional about saving, you really have to pay attention to what you are spending on and how you spend it. So, for example, some people, you find that you could have a shelf or a corner in your house where you have things that you label, for example, when I get small again, that go fit me. You have things in your house which you might label, when I go back to church regular, I go use them days. So. These are things that you have. And perhaps the same way you're going to buy a deal and pay for it now. Those things in there, you could have done two things with them. One is that you could actually use them or get a seamstress or a tailor to take in so that they fit you nicely again, or to expand so that they fit you, whatever the case may be. Or two, you could have sold them to your girlfriend, bring it and have a little box sale at work or have a little village sale, walk around like the suitcase man and sell what you have. You take that money and you buy that new dress you're looking for. But that is being intentional. That is about saving. You hear how I'm trying to bring you back without at the same time shutting your dome by the night?
Yes. Yes. No, okay, so that might be true for some people. But so to me, it's like one of the tips to save money is simply shopping for less clothes, given what you already have in your closet.
Sure, right. But everything is personal, right? Just like we say, everything in personal finance is about your situation personally, what suits you, what fits you. So everything is personal, but by and large, you can say the answer to that would be yes, you buy what you need and you buy what would be sufficient for you at the point in time. At the period in time, I don't know, the night type of job you're doing now and so on might require a certain type of wardrobe and you may want to change over. So you'll be intentional about it. And sometimes what you find is that and that is something that is said. It is said that we use 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. What that means is that the clothes we use most frequently if we look inside the closet, we look inside the wardrobe, that clothes that we use most regularly come up to about 20% of all the clothes we own, all the clothes we have in the closet. And so you think, and you think about that. By the way, you ever heard about the capsule wardrobe? There is something called capsule wardrobe that we use a lot when we do training in savings and financial management and so on.
I never heard of it.
Right. This one was developed by she was a boutique owner in England a long time ago. Well, I mean, even though I heard about it, that was a long time ago, and I didn't really used to make any sense, think it make any sense. But, more and more as you're prepared to help others, you realize that that's the case. So this lady, what she did is she did an experiment. And she was a boutique owner, so she should be selling clothes. But she did an experiment, and she said for herself, let me see if I can survive on less clothes than I have. And she tried it. And what she worked out is that before, as you can see here, before, she had a closet full of clothes. And when she break it down to what she really would need, so in her case, she specifically paid attention to having quality garments, quality clothes. So she have a few quality clothes, and she have it in a way that one thing could link and blend with several other things. And so she will mix and match and so on. Shoes, she might have 2 pairs of jeans only, and then several different color shoes and so on, sneakers, and she would match it to suit, for her summer wear. And the same thing for coats, 2 coats only, one for this kind of going out and the other for another. And this is what the closet, the capsule wardrobe is about. And this is based on a truth. That lady by the name was the same name as the Guy Fawkes. The Guy Fawkes singer celebrated Monjalo. Yeah, Susie Fox. And she's very famous for that, and people, if you go to any financial management class, that comes up as well. Capsule wardrobe. You could work with 20 to 40% of the clothes that we have when we don't care about savings and when we don't take care about money management, we end up with a set of clothes. When you start to think about money management, when you start to think about guarding your savings and your wallet and your money, you find that 20 to 40% of that is sufficient. And I mean, I wouldn't ask you your business, but I will tell you, if you think about it, I'm sure, without working any magic, any obia, that your answer will be, yes, it's true. I work with only 30% of what I have in the back.
It's true.
And so and so you find this is a way of saving as well. It's a way that you can save, and you would find that it's simple, but it's true. And then it might be hard to get yourself to the discipline. But imagine that you tried that and you sell off some clothes. The money you make is a savings, but it's also money you can use on high quality clothes that you could perhaps benefit from, not going down the money spending route just for clothing.
You mentioned discipline, and the capsule wardrobe sounds like something that would take a lot of practice. So I would see if I could work out a capsule wardrobe. But in the meantime, what other tips can help plan shopping better so as we can spend less on clothes?
Right. Well, I go on back to the budget. So as a tip, you have to make a budget. It's not the same thing like if you're writing down the things that you think you want to buy, but rather you need to take stock of what money you have where the budget is concerned. So working with a budget overall is important. And if you're doing one overall, as far as clothing is concerned, it becomes part of that budget. And you yourself could budget. You could budget what time in the year you're going to be doing your clothing spending, and therefore you're able to save, and you have your wardrobe upgrade or wardrobe change over budget, and you know what is going. That gives you a chance also to spend a long time telling persons that you have something to sell, or to prepare to go, let's say you're living in St. George's, to go Grenville with a little box and do some sale one, even, or to go to a shop, which is a thrift shop, and to give them what you have, what you think you will not be using anymore, and you will sell that so you get money to help you pay for the new clothing that you're going to buy. I mean, this thing about budgeting is so very important. And I mean, I cannot help myself. I just have to keep mentioning that every episode, because it really helps us to know what it is that we're doing when we're spending our money. Take some time. Make sure your monies that you have to spend, you classify them. We gave some different rules and some different systems already. If you forget them, always check back the episode. I think I've seen that they're all on Facebook, right?
They're on Facebook. They're on the YouTube channel as well.
Right. So just check any Tuesday. from April come down and you have a Money Matters inside the morning, the Good Morning Grenada segments. You have a Money Matters portion of it, and you can go back to it. So we gave how to really plan out the entire spending that you have, and you do the best you can with it. For clothing is the same thing. You make a budget, and the budget really helps you because you can pay attention to what you're doing and not just be doing things because today is Monday, shopping day. Or I'm passing by here every day. I didn't see that one last week. I like that one. I go on and buy. And, it's so easy these days with our cards, that we just go in and buy just like that. So the other tip I would say, is to look for higher quality clothing because, as I said, it is found that if you use high quality clothing in the periods for the things that you most do, the outings that you most do, like your work outings or if you are, for example, a sports person, your sport outing and so on, it makes no sense buying a regular thing that will just, give you only a month or two. It's good to buy something durable that will last for a long time. In the end, people would perhaps be very familiar with you because every time they see that color, they know it's you coming, even though it's your face. And that's what we don't like. But at the same time, it really helps our pocket. And one day, Kongote, you'll be able to buy more because you would have done the savings. By the way, I think it was Barack Obama who had explained one time why you always see him in this color suit, a blue or black, a white shirt or a blue shirt and so on, and certain ties. And because it makes life simple for him, he doesn't have to be thinking and debating, what. That's a less anxiety, and it gives him chance to focus on the things that really matters in his life. The same thing comes with us. If we let clothing be something that we're focusing on mostly in our lives, then it means that it will take up not only plenty time and a lot of anxiety, but it will also take up plenty money. Plenty money. Plenty money. And then you keep an ear out for sales, and an eye when you pass in the shop windows as well, because where there is sale, perhaps there is something in a bargain that you were saving up for, and you will be able to get it earlier because you were saving for it and now it is on sale. In any event, we all know when the sales happen as far as clothes is concerned generally. There are certain seasons that when they finish, you get a lot of things related to them. So, after Christmas, you know when there's stock taking around after September, for after school back in session and so on. So, those kind of times and you prepare for them as well. And you speak about the ladies a lot. Every lady has another lady inside a shop who know when the sale coming. So you make sure you take tab of that as well. And avoid unnecessary expenses, I would say. And I go back to children again because we should make sure our children are well clothed and so on. But buy the things that really make sense. For example, the summer holiday coming up, what you need to be buying is a hard piece of parts. Because, that going and get down in the cocoa, down on the playing field, they're going to get a lot of beating. So you get something durable and you get some clothes that's suited for when the kids are on holidays, as opposed to if you were buying their Sunday best or if you were buying something for them to go online. So those are some of the tips I would say for there. As far as the habits is concerned, we then have to pay attention to that as well. Your lifestyle, and you could tell whether or not you spend a lot of money on clothing. So make sure you adopt a lifestyle that doesn't dictate that you're bound to spend because the Joneses are spending or because that lifestyle requires it if you cannot afford it especially.
For those of you just tuning in, you are tuned into Money Matters, a segment sponsored by Republic Bank, and we have financial consultant Tarlie Francis with us once again this morning. Mr. Francis, you mentioned earlier like tweaking shopping habits to save money. Tell us a bit more about that.
Right. It means doing certain things that we might be uncomfortable with, but because clothes are what they are, you could wear a piece of clothes for a whole year. It is in good condition, and then what you do is that you dump it or you leave it in that corner of the closet. But if you decided that you're going to rotate that clothes out of your life, it means that you could perhaps put it to one of the little thrift shop or the flea market places and so on, I don't know if we still have that, but the flea market places and so on, a lady used to run that in Tarantine. You go there, you put up your things and so you sell that, give her a little piece of the action. wherever it is, people go down to the market on the side of the road, you have these things up, you put up the hanger, or you sell it on the job. But we are uncomfortable to sell, a lot of us. And so that is one of the kind of habit, you could change. Another thing is that if you want to be wearing clothing for an outing, and it's the only time you're going to be using that pretty clothes you're thinking about, perhaps you could borrow it from somebody. That again is a habit-changing thing, because we don't like to borrow other people's clothing. But perhaps the place you go into that event, the time you go into the event, the people you're accustomed to being around, they would not be there, or few of them may be there. In fact, it doesn't matter how somebody else dropped their clothes, you might be able to drop it differently. So that's another thing you can do. You're going to a wedding, for example, you're going to a major charity event, you get invitation to the Independence Ball for the first time, you ain't know you're going to get invitation again for another year, and you're using this clothing for once. And perhaps that is something you could do. For the fellas, it's the same thing, If you never using jacket and tie and so on, you have a graduation coming up and you have to be there. What's the problem? Borrow it from your brother, borrow it from your cousin. You don't have to go and buy one. The right there is a habit you're talking about as far as saving money is concerned. Because a suit could cost you between $900 and $1,500 for a good one. And so maybe you should save to buy a good one for all these occasions. But if you don't, the way in which you can save yourself the trouble and the embarrassment is to take it up front. You could borrow. There's another thing that people do, which is called clothes swapping. That is where you use what fits you from me and I use what fits me from you. And this could be done right through. I don't really advise it with children and so, because, children are a little more touchy on these things. But that is perhaps a way in which you could save. Imagine a set of girlfriends going out. Every time you're going out, you really have to buy a new thing. These are girlfriends who could swap their clothes. I mean, nothing wrong with that. You're so close.
I agree.
Or sisters or cousins or whatever. You're so close and so on. I mean, how you drop the clothes is not the same way your cousin drops the clothes. And the persons, who you're associating with, they can't give no two hoots about that anyway. A comment will not show you them. So those are some kind of habit-changing things that, you would, yeah.
So, and care, how does that come into saving, helping you save money, caring clothes?
Yeah, I mentioned care earlier on. Yeah, that's some of the tips relates to care. It's taking good care of your clothing, right? Now, that starts with the clothes that you buy, because sometimes you go and you buy a piece of clothes and you didn't look at the tag in the back. That little tag in the back does be important, Sometimes that thing say dry cleaning only. You have a problem right there, because you have to bring that to dry clean every time you wear it, or every couple of times that you wear it, in order to take care of it, for it to last, right? So when you're going to buy, you need to know that you have the budget or that you can afford that expense. Because if you don't bring it dry clean as the way it should be, then what it means is that it would be destroyed faster. So that's one thing. Some things are so delicate that you have to hand wash it. Washing machine don't always cut it. So laziness really ends up costing you money if you throw in a thing that's supposed to be delicately hand washed into the washing machine every time you go to prepare it. And then we are very fortunate, you could sun dry and wind dry a lot of things that preserves the quality of the clothes. So you do that and check your clothes while it is loosening out, before it loosens out altogether, and give it a little darning, I think you call that, so that, you tack it up before it goes west. So that is, in brief about clothing, what you can do.
And then you also mentioned being creative, saving by being creative with your clothes.
Well, as I said when we were doing, house home improvement, not all of us have the talent to be able to sew and so on. But sewing, learning to do a little bit of the sewing work and the clothes mending work and so on is one. So if you have that in you, that's a good way to save on clothing. A lot of this think about sewing clothes and thing now. You have them on YouTube. You buy the pattern, just a pack of the patterns. You buy the fabric. And something you will pay $800 for, you actually have for $350 somewhere thereabout. Or you take the same thing and you bring it to the seamstress or the tailor, which will be much cheaper, the fabric, and you give her what you want. Sit down there and you do it. You do it. Or you do something for the seamstress and then they do something for you with the clothing. This thing about being creative is also about knowing how you mix and match the clothing that you have, because you will be surprised to know. In fact, no, maybe you know, but a lot of people will be surprised to know that a piece of clothes, an outfit could look real new depending on how you mix it and match it. right? And so you be creative with that as well to help you to feel comfortable in your dress, in your wear, feel comfortable in your goings about and goings out, but using the same that you have. And some people can be so meticulous that they know that they're not wearing this and that color in between January and Easter. They know as soon as Easter strikes, all the way up to Carnival, they're wearing this and that other color. Some people are meticulous at that. I won't call no name, but you really get people who go to that extent. And we give those examples here to show you that indeed, more than just thinking about the mathematics of it and how many dollars of it, just in the care, in the habit, and in the creativity, you could do a lot on saving on clothing.
All right, so that's it for clothes. No.
Yes, I mightn't have anything more in mind.
So let's move on to now another expense that a lot of people try to afford, vacation. How to have a great vacation, a great holiday, and save money at the same time. Is that possible? What's the word here?
Right. Again, I'm sure everybody will know the first thing I will say is plan ahead. Plan ahead, because a vacation is really a thing and a time when you really should not have anything on your mind. The only thing you should be worried about, if you travel with your children, make sure that they don't hurt themselves. That's the only thing. The only thing you should be worried about is if you're not accustomed to a certain type of food, you don't go and eat that food to give your belly works and so on. But you shouldn't be worried about how much it really costs you on your vacation, because you are able to plan ahead. You should plan ahead because you're able to do a lot of things cheaper if you plan ahead. For example, if you make a reservation for some place, even now in this COVID times, there are places where if you say, I will, subject to COVID being over, in August 2022, I will be with you. I want to be with you for 1 month. How much are you going to give me now as a rate? And you know, there are places that are ready to tell you between, even for Easter, for April. I'm giving this tip because a friend of mine told me that he has already booked a vacation. If Easter next year, traveling is up, he's actually going out for April, all of April. And but he has no kids and so on, so they're actually going for a long time. And he has been able to lock down in Aruba. He's been able to lock down in Aruba very, very cheap accommodation. So that's a tip for vacation. Plan ahead. Make your reservations as early as you can. Don't be guessing on one end. You know, I wonder if I should go there. I wonder if I should go there. Make a decision, and then begin to prepare to get to those places. Same thing happens with your airfare, because your airfare is usually cheaper the earlier you purchase the ticket. Right? True, we in COVIDious, as you gave me that word last time, COVIDious times, and you have to be careful. But you do everything subject to being free of COVID. You plan ahead now. This June that we are in here in 2021. Before you know it, we're ready to celebrate Christmas. You know, if COVID still giving us trouble, we're gonna be under manners. But if COVID, at least we do all that we have to do, and and so on, and we become what they call herd immune and all these things, and countries open, Christmas is a time that we would want to enjoy with a bang. If you're not saving and if you're not preparing, then you would not have it. So the first tip is really to plan ahead. The other is to use rewards. So I happen to have a American Advantage card from what used to be Scotia, is now Republic. And still, even with this COVID and so on, I still getting rewards. So it means that I'm still getting the rewards for the use of the card in my account, available for use when this place open and we could travel. The ticket is becoming safer and safer, and it's less and less dollars I will have to put out to buy that ticket. Use rewards, because those things help you to get where you want to go much cheaper. So be attentive to that and use it. We spoke about that before. If you didn't get the credit card episode, also you can just go back and check that, because we spoke at length with that as well. Also, the way you eat on vacation. So now we're on the vacation. The way you eat when you're on vacation is supposed to be to enjoy yourself, but it's not supposed to be to spend more than you're bound to spend. So if you had planned ahead, one of the good things could be to take rooms with at least one meal. Usually it's breakfast or so, but at least one meal. That saves you. Because when you're on vacation, really, from the time you get up, you eat once. The next time you eat it is still later on. In between is a little snack, a little fruit and so on, or something from where you go. You get a lot of what you call these things, testers and tasters and complimentary this and that. Once you plan your vacation well, you take care of this. You visit a museum, they give you something to drink, for example, and so that's what you want to do. Be careful as to how you eat. For example, a simple thing like if you decided you're going on an excursion and you plan your excursion well, when your excursion ends, it will end up in an area where the restaurants are cheap, or it will end up back in your hotel where dinner is really on part of the package. You don't end up in a place where it is a sophisticated area, you're hungry, and you must pay a high price for the meal at that time. If you have children, you must feed them. If you're on your own, you can stick it. So, but I mean, even if you're on your own, you're on vacation, I mean, you have time to eat. So you want to prepare to be back where it is cheaper to eat or at your own hotel and so. Another way to save blossom, this also has to do with habit, is to vacation with family and friends, right? The way you save in this is that you could actually, instead of going and take a hotel in a place where you're going, you could rent a flat or a condo or an apartment, and you live there for the whole period. Cheap, meaning cheaper than if you were taking hotel rooms, and cheaper than if you even went at family in some cases, because usually when you vacation, you go at family, it's hard. You vacation and you visit your family while you're vacationing. But when you visit at family, in many cases, it's really another job, another work period, another period of anxiety. So you be very deliberate about that as well. Yeah. Do you think you could get free entertainment when you're on vacation? The answer is yes.
Yeah, man.
If you're in a hotel, for example, one party you're sure about is the managers. They call it the managers' cocktail. Mm-hmm. It's a welcome party that they always have. It lasts about 2 hours sometimes, but once it's finished, you hang around and so on, you always have something. The waiter always come and give you something. They always have extras. And so that's an example of where you can get entertainment for free. If you visit a museum, for example, they give you movies. True, it's usually historical and so on, but that's an entertainment while you're on vacation. So you think of and having entertainment like this. You can go to what they call the animal places, one of these farms and so on, and, enjoy some time with nature. And those are ways in which you get free as well. A friend was giving me an entertainment example, which is very strange. He was pretending that he's car shopping, and he got the opportunity to drive in some very high-end cars, go into the dealership. So they will bring him out to test. They call it car testing. So those are some, I see we hard on time, but those are some of the tips that for traveling and for vacation when you travel. Now, when you're not traveling, you can also have a good vacation with your family, what we usually call a staycation. And that could be not only in your house, that could be camping for Judy, camping in places where it's not dangerous and where it's not prohibited, where it's, frequently people are there and so on. And you alert the security, you alert the police, you'll be in a certain area camping this weekend. That's what the scout leaders used to do with scouts and guides and so on. Over the years, that don't happen much anymore, when you want to camp in a school or in a clubhouse or something like that. But you can have even staycation where you camp. And the other way you can do staycation is where everybody bundle up in one person's home and yard and you spend the weekend there. That's also a way to vacation, pretty cheap as well. You consider those, yeah?
Well, it's as we wrap up this morning, it feels like we did, two heavy areas. But for me, the biggest, what I took away from them, saving money on the wardrobe. It's possible. You just have to check what you have and don't overspend, because most people use 20% of their clothes 80% of the time. I like that,
Oh yes, it's true.
And for traveling for vacation, the main way is to plan ahead. That's what I got from them.
Plan ahead and not be too, let's say, proud about the things you do to enjoy a good vacation. I say poor proud in inverted commas.
I like that. Thank you so very much, Mr. Francis. Next episode, what we're dealing with, what we're saving on next week, please, Lord.
We'll tackle prescription drugs. Let's try to look at in medications and so how we could save when we're spending on medication. Prescription drugs.
We could actually save on that. All right, looking forward to that.
Yes, it's a tough one, but we can find a few ways.
And then the episode after that, episode 12, we're helping the young ones, our children, learning money skills and saving tips.
Right, and we'd encourage viewers and listeners to have their kids around, because their kids will hold them accountable to carry out some of the tips that we have, and they will carry out some on their own as well, yes.
And children,
that would be the final episode number 12.
And children don't play about their money, so Mr. Francis, thank you so very much, sir. Looking forward to it next week as always. Appreciate you.
Yes. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Thanks, you too. Money Matters, GBN, and it is sponsored by Republic Bank. Next week, please the Lord, how to save on prescription drugs. Money Matters, it is aired during Good Morning Grenada 7:15 every Tuesday. Well, we have 2 more episodes left, and it is repeated 6:50 p.m. on Wednesdays and 7 p.m. on Sundays, if my memory serves me correctly. Letting your money work for you. Thank you so very much, viewers and listeners, for tuning in. Let's get ready to join the BBC for the 8 a.m. newscast. Enjoy the rest of your the rest of your Tuesday. Bye.